It's January, which means there's a lot of sales on, so I managed to pick this guy up for really cheap in a toy store. Now, most of you know Rogue One is my favourite Star Wars film that's come out recently, and I do really like the Shoretroopers, and this is the first big Shoretrooper figure that I've actually come across in the shops. So while the sculpt on these figures are really good, I think he needs a little bit of work to him, especially the fact that he's standing ramrod straight like a child on their first day of school. So I'm actually going to attempt my first proper figure repaint. So what I've decided to do for this guy is I'm going to keep the legs in the same position. I'm going to cut the arms and make joins at the elbow so he can actually hold the blaster across his chest. Give the whole figure a repaint, maybe redo his rank with some of the blue on the chest piece and change up some of the paint details on the arms. Add a bit of weathering and make a small sandy base that he can stand on. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to cut out a load of wood, and that's going to be the base for him to stand on. So here we have our wooden base. Again, if you don't have wood, you could probably use foam or foam core, but it's not going to be as solid, so I just want to use wood so we get a nice shape out of it, and it's going to be quite a stable base. So you can see I've just marked out where I want his feet to go, so I'm going to have him standing a bit further forward on this bit. I don't want it on the big base because I'm obviously going to need to display it with a bunch of other stuff. But because I'm going to make this look like sand that he's walking on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trusty milliput, which I'm so glad I bought for using a TK armor, because I use it for most things now. It's a wonderful little bit of kit. And I'm going to make it look like his footprints have depressed into the sand, and the sand's built up around the bottom of his feet a little bit, as well as adding in like a footprint and a half at the back to make it look like this has just been cut out of one big set and he's like walked onto this section of sand. So the base is dry now, the milliput be ready to paint, and I've been wanting to try this stuff out for a while. This is a textured paint stone. Obviously this isn't the final colour I'm going for, I was just looking at the textures. You can get ones that are finer and thicker than this, but I wondered how effective this would be to create like the effect of a quite coarse sandy beach. So we're going to give the base a spray with this, see how it comes out. So the stone spray has actually worked quite nicely. We've got a nice texture going on at the bottom, but it's obviously the wrong colour, so we're going to have to go over and paint it. Just going to paint it using acrylic paints to try and get a nice sort of sandy effect. So just to give it a little bit more texture as well, I added some of this, which is stuff for building model scenery. That just helps with some of the areas and gives a little bit more definition. I'm going to sort out the joints on this guy, so I'm going to cut through the elbows, try not to catch any of the armor parts, just through the black, what would be the soft parts, and figure out how to set it so his arms are at an angle, so he can hold the blaster across the chest like that, rather than down by his side. So I figured out kind of what angle I want him to hold the blaster at, and to get the arms to stay in one spot for now, I've actually put some of this in the hollow gaps between the forearm and the bicep. This is just gardening wire. This is just to help like plants grow in certain directions, so you can find this anywhere that's going to sell gardening equipment, and it's really cheap, cuts easily, and is flexible. And just added a dab of glue just where the arms meet there to make sure they don't move whilst I'm sort of looking at how to fill it in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fill in these gaps here and the bottom of the arms and the tops with a bit of hot glue, and then the milliput's going to come out because it's like modelling clay, so we can actually sculpt on an elbow and then add in all the little grooves that's on here and wait for that to set. Milliput elbows are now dry, and as you can see I've just gone back in with Stanley blade and just added the little line so it matches the undersuit. I put that around the trouser area as well so it doesn't look like it's just got a flat bit and then it comes into the texture. And this whole figure has been given a once over with sandpaper, so the next step is to hit this with some plastic primer. The Shoretrooper's primed, so now I'm going to spray all the main colour of the armour sections, and then the rest of the colour I'm actually going to hand paint over the top. Here we've got the colour for the armour, so it's all one colour at the moment, and now I'm going to hand paint the rest of the details on. So I'm going to start with the black, do all the undersuit, do like the visor details, and I'm going to paint in the brown, so that's going to be the trousers as well as the boots. And I'm going to upgrade this guy to a captain, so he's going to have different coloured parts on his armour to show his rank. All the rank markings are now on, so I'm going to actually go over it and do a bit of weathering, just using watered down black and brown acrylic. Just going to go in all the grooves and just make him look a little bit more beat up, and maybe add a little bit more of the scenic sort of stuff, just to make it look like there's a bit of dirt trapped in certain areas of the armour. actual detail was painted on with this painter's touch. They're essentially the same paint you get in spray cans, but this stuff you can brush on, and it dries really quickly and it sticks really well to this. And in other spots I've just done enamel paint, which I normally use because this stuff sticks pretty well to plastic. The only problems I had is because the body is made out of a different plastic to the head. The head is a little bit tacky. I think the paint's reacted with the rubber because the head's slightly rubber, and it's certainly reacted to the belt. It's a lot more tacky. I've put a little bit of gloss cover on it just to try and bring it down a little bit. So do be warned, if you are painting this same toy, the head will be a little bit tacky, and I'd recommend either masking up or cutting off the belt and putting it back on again, because it just doesn't seem to like the paint. I mean, it's not too bad, but it's certainly noticeable. I'm really pleased with how this has come out, considering this is the first time I've tried something on this level with a figure. And this one was really quite enjoyable to do, so if you guys like this, then please do let me know. I might be able to do some more of these in the future if I find some more figures that are in need of a repaint. The channel is slowly getting close to 100,000 subscribers, so please do subscribe if you want to, because I am really excited to get towards that whole mark. I'm trying to make videos as regular as I can and trying out different things, so please support the channel, I really appreciate it. And as always, may the Force be with you.